Look at what we have here. A Sharp Roku 4K Ultra HD TV, 43 inch in 4K HDR. Is it any good? Is Sharp worth anything now that it's 2017? Sharp is now a brand name that has been sold off, and Foxconn owns Sharp, and Hisense earned the rights to the Sharp brand name for TVs in the USA. I got it on a crazy deal. There was, on September 12th, there was a one-day sale at Best Buy where they were blowing out all of their open box TVs for half price. So I got this for $349 Canadian. Is it any good? Let's find out. Here's how the TV looks in my display cabinet. Like I said, it's a 43-inch TV. It has very small bezels, which is a good thing. The bezels are very small. The one thing that is a bit of an issue though is how glossy the panel is. There is a lot of light coming in through the back window right now, but this TV is more glossy than my old TV. You do see a lot of reflections, so that's one downside. However, when the panel turns on, it's quite nice. 3, 2, 1, press the button. I've just powered the TV on. We'll show you how quickly it turns on. I'm also going to quickly turn off, and now we're already in the menu, and I've set it to default to turn to the antenna input. So I use over-the-air HD TV. And it's perfectly fine. It upscales to 4K internally through the TV, so it doesn't actually tell you what it's doing. But when you do change channels, it gives you information down the display at the bottom of what the actual resolution is. How the TV tuner works within the TV is quite nice. You can press over, you can get a list of menus. There is a way for you to pause live TV. If you install a USB stick in the back of the TV, you can pause live TV for up to 30 minutes. Well, that was a funny pause point. So those are cool things. Things I don't like about the TV tuner, and a major downside to how we use television, is that if you bring up the information display to get what shows are on, there's no way for you to scroll through into the future on each channel to find out what show is on. So that's not great. And that's actually one of the major downsides to us for this TV, is that we cannot see on a guide what shows are coming up next. But most people who buy this TV will not be using over-the-air antenna like we do. Most people have a cable subscription or a service where you're getting that type of TV information. Now when you go into the menus, the biggest thing is that this is a Roku. It is essentially a Roku built right into this television. And it's a 4K Ultra version as well. So all of the apps work in 4K. There's a 4K Spotlight channel. YouTube works in 4K. Netflix works in 4K if you pay for it. So I can go into YouTube, and this is how quickly it will load apps. And the YouTube app works pretty well. Now there's lots of 4K content, but it's not always easy to find 4K HDR content. I would have to go into my history a bit, but if I do a search here for 4K HDR, I'll try and find some for you. Because there is something that the TV does that I want to point out, which the TV itself can decode real 4K HDR, but I'm not sure that it has the wide color gamut to actually display it. So this, I know this one for sure, this one is a real 4K HDR video, and when I play it, the TV will switch into an HDR mode and give you that badge in the upper right hand corner that just popped up there that shows HDR. So that gives you a nice little dopamine hit that yes, this is actually decoding in HDR. And if I bring up the side panel, when you're in your picture mode, it also detects that it's in HDR. So that is good. And there is adjustable. You can go into the picture settings and you can adjust all of your picture levels, and you can go into advanced picture settings. And And each one, HDR versus non-HDR, is different separate settings, so you can tweak them independently. So right now this is decoding real HDR signal from YouTube. As of November 2016, the YouTube app can do that. And this TV can do that, which is great. This is a 2017 model TV. A lot of the earlier TVs could not decode native HDR. I don't believe it's displaying us the real wide color gamut, but still, this looks fantastic. I'm really impressed with this TV for its speed and ability to play 4K HDR content. And then quickly, so right now I'm streaming a 4K HDR video, and if I quickly wanted to hop out of this and into another app, I just want to show you how quickly you can change apps. I hit the home button just then, and I'm just going to switch over to Netflix. I just want to show you how quickly this is happening. You know, it's fairly instant. I'm going to go out of Netflix. Whoops, oh, I hit the wrong button. Back to YouTube. Now it doesn't save your session, so it doesn't have a lot of memory. So when you leave an app and you return to an app, under most circumstances it resets. So that's a little bit of a downside, but it's to be expected as a built-in smart TV. As far as apps go, it has every app that a Roku TV has, so there's no issues there. Now that does mean that you do not get Kodi. If you want Kodi, you have to buy a Sony TV with Android TV built in. That's the only TV that I'm aware of that can natively do Kodi built in. So let me just show you some of the settings, because there's a couple things in here that I have tweaked to have screwed me up. So for network, it does have Wi-Fi built in, so you don't have to add a dongle for that. Now there was an issue with the TV inputs, and I believe I had to change for the audio settings. I was looking for how do I turn on ARC, audio return channel, and I was having a very hard time finding it, because I did initially disable the TV speakers, which I must say actually sounded pretty decent. Sound that came out of this TV for being a very budget model, probably the bottom of the barrel model 4K TV that has a brand name on it that you recognize. I was impressed by pretty much overall the quality of the whole TV. And in this setting, it shows you SPDIF and ARC. So SPDIF is your optical output, and audio return channel is the return channel that sends audio back up to your receiver or connected device through the HDMI cable. Even if this is on auto detect, ARC does not work until you specifically find ARC in the system and turn it on. So you have to go into system. I had to go into control other devices, and in here I could turn on audio return channel. So the TV does everything, and once you turn it on and get it set up properly, it works great. And the reason why I use audio return channel is because I do have a surround sound system. And something that this TV does that my other TV did not do is this TV will pass through the full 5.1 Dolby Digital surround sound system through all inputs. It doesn't matter. My old TV was only through the coax input for over-the-air TV. This one, it works with everything. So it does have some great options. It has screen mirroring. It's like a Miracast or a AirPlay. Even when the TV's off, it always appears in the Wi-Fi list as a Roku device. So anything you could stream to a Roku, you can stream to this TV. There's some really good things that I like about this TV. And then there's the two killer things that are making me gonna have to return it. So like I mentioned, there's the one issue, which is the TV guide, which is pretty much non-existent except for the one channel that you're watching. That most people won't care about. The thing that I care about is picture quality. This picture, as you're seeing it right now, is superb, excellent. I have absolutely no problems with how the TV looks when you are facing it straight on. My issue is that it's a VA panel. VA means vertical alignment of the pixels, and I'm used to an IPS TV, which was in-plane switching. So this VA panel looks amazing straight on. I really like it. The contrast is excellent. The issue is if you go off to the side, and you see how much it's washed out, how the blacks have become very gray, and you lose a lot of contrast. That's the main issue with VA panel TVs. With my old TV, I could sit over here and watch it, and it would look great. And on this TV, it's particularly poor. Now, some people won't care about that, but for me, I do. If you can find a deal on a TV like this and you're going to watch it on a straight on configuration, it's excellent. But even where I sit here on this sofa, in this position here, perfect sweet spot. In this position here, sort of grayed out a little bit. So it matters. Viewing angle matters a lot. And just for an example, there's my old TV there, which has excellent viewing angles compared to the 4K TV. It's a bit of a bummer. Here's something interesting that I've learned about this Sharp TV in trying to get the PS4 to work with HDR. If I try and turn on HDR, it says it does not support it. But that's not necessarily true. So then if I go to the home screen on the TV and I go to settings, TV inputs, and I've got my PS4 connected to HDMI 1, go into HDMI mode, and I find that the auto does not actually work. So I'm going to force it to always use HDMI 2.0. And then now it should work. There we go. And now HDR is on automatic, and it automatically turned itself on. So it detected that RGB, or detected HDR automatic, deep color automatic. So that's good. Video output information, 1920 by 1080 at 60 Hertz, RGB, HDR supported. Show you when you start playing a video, it'll come up with the prompt that it is real HDR content. And then it starts streaming it. I think that the TV looks great, actually. It's fairly accurate to what I'm seeing, as best as the camera can reproduce. Straight on to the side. Look at how much it washes out when you go off axis. If it didn't have that flaw, which is a flaw in all VA panels, it would be a keeper for sure for the price range, but I don't know what to do now. Gonna use it for a few more weeks and decide.